Agent Carter's Season 2 premiere, The Lady in the Lake. Now, for the Season 2 premiere of Agent Carter, I think this was definitely a cool episode. We get to see, it's totally opposite side of the country. Instead of New York, we're in LA. So that's really cool, very different. Jarvis apparently hates it there with the trees and everything. I thought that was really funny. But we get a lot of cool changes. Like, there's clearly a huge time gap, or maybe not huge, but it's enough of a time gap because Sousa is now the chief of the Western Division of the SSR. So he's the chief. He's doing his own thing. Basically, it's new enough because he has the issue of everyone there being too green, which for anyone who doesn't know, it just means they're not experienced. So it's new enough that he has this full giant facility and everything, but it's just not good enough. The only person seemingly that actually is transferred from New York with him is the woman at the front desk, and that's about it. Everyone else, brand new. So I think it's really cool that we have these two storylines now, which I didn't think was going to happen. I really thought it was just going to be they're in LA and that's all there is to it, but they're still sticking with the original location. So we still have New York, we still have that version of the SSR, and we'll still see what's going on there because they're going to have these two stories going on. And I'm pretty excited for it. I think it was a cool start. It's nice to see. For one, we got to meet Jarvis's wife, which I thought was pretty cool. She was a really interesting character, and she's a lot like Jarvis, but clearly a bit more outgoing than he is. Like, they have the whole kissing scene and everything, and it's just funny. And she's like making weapons and stuff, and I'm like, what exactly does she do? Because she doesn't, like, she's married to Jarvis, and I remember a little bit from season 1 where he mentions like, oh, the reason basically I help Howard is because he helped me save this woman that I love, and that's basically why we're friends and why I'm kind of working for him, because he helped me save her life. So it's like it kind of makes me wonder exactly what she does, because she's just at the house and she knows certain things, and she's just fine. She's just like there's like here's here's a gun, a super secret tiny gun holder and stuff, and it's like what does she do just at this house? So it's interesting trying to figure out her character a little bit because I really like her. She's pretty funny and um, like is like very outgoing and stuff, and she loves her husband. It's just really funny to watch. But I like her character for sure. It was great to meet her, and I'm kind of looking forward to like the four characters like Peggy, Jarvis, Mrs. Jarvis. I don't believe they've said her first name yet, and I don't think they say it in the second episode either, which obviously wouldn't be a spoiler if they did. But I'd love to see them and Howard all together because I feel like there's just a lot of comedy that can come from that. But I like the introduction of her new character. We get to meet a new scientist who clearly has feelings for Peggy. Like, he was very outgoing in the beginning. It's like, here's my card. Oh, here's my personal number. Maybe I should get your number. And it was like, they met like a minute ago or something. So I thought that was kind of funny, just that scene. But he was definitely helpful, or, he's trying to help and everything. And there's just a lot of weird stuff going on. Like, we have a woman frozen in the lake. We have this crazy mystery, which I just assumed at the end when they figured out it was the cop. I was like, oh, he's actually got superpowers, and he froze this woman in the lake, or maybe he did it because he doesn't have complete control of his abilities or something like that. And it turns out it's just because people are, exposed to this blood, and it freezes people. Like, they freeze and they shatter, and that's it. And it's just like, this is a really weird situation. Some crazy stuff is going on. We have the head of, the company that they're trying to investigate. Him and his wife are clearly both in the know. Like, she's seemingly just this actress. And then we find out at the end of the episode, it's like, nope, see, they're working together. They both know all the ins and outs of what's going on and things like that. Or at least she knows what he's really doing behind the scenes. She might not be involved, but she at least knows about it. And it's like, this is really, really weird. And then we have, the New York storyline, which is kind of revolving, so far it's revolving around Peggy's old neighbor, who really didn't have as big of a part in this episode as I was expecting. I really thought, like, the way they did it was like, okay, she's in the opening scene, and boom, she gets captured, and then she gets taken away by the FBI, and it's just like, That's it. And she's gone. I was like, it was very surprising with her being the villain that she was in the last season, which was this surprise, out of nowhere villain. They kind of just got rid of her a little bit in this first episode. I was like, that's kind of surprising. They basically recapped the entire first season, and I thought it would be a big deal. I thought maybe she'll be like the nemesis character for Peggy, because Peggy beat her, but of course she's lived, so she escaped. And I was like, all right, they'll be rivals, kind of throughout each season, or maybe at least for this season, official rivals. And it was like, nope, she got captured, and Peggy left. She's in L.A., and basically here comes the FBI. It's like, all right, we got this, and then she disappeared. So I don't know. I don't know if she's gonna come back or if she'll escape or anything like that. But the FBI gets introduced, and we kind of get this moment where it's like, okay, we have two chiefs right now. We have Sousa and the other guy whose name they probably said like twice. And honestly, they said Sousa so many times, that's why I'm able to remember his name. But the other guy who's currently chief in New York, he kind of gets the opportunity where he can take over for whatever this next big thing is going to end up being, which at this point, considering, of course, it's the SSR, I have to assume it's going to end up being S.H.I.E.L.D., that they're at least hinting at this point. I really don't know, because it could just be some branch of the FBI, but... And maybe that's how S.H.I.E.L.D. started. I don't know if they've talked about that in the movies or not. Like, this is exactly how S.H.I.E.L.D. began and stuff like that. Even in Captain America, I think it was just... it wasn't exactly even S.H.I.E.L.D. at that point. It was still the SSR, and they kind of just skipped time, and it's like, yep, it went from this to S.H.I.E.L.D. So there's a lot of in-between time from this is what the SSR was, and this is how S.H.I.E.L.D. came to be. So maybe it was a branch of the FBI initially, and then they kind of merged the two, and then they separated it or whatever, I don't know. But there's clearly something going on there if they took the time out to have a bar scene where it's like, hey, do you want to be the leader of this thing that's falling apart, or do you want to be the head of whatever ends up coming next? So it's either going to be S.H.I.E.L.D. or maybe something even crazier. Who knows? Maybe AIM will come out of that. That would be really crazy, but I kind of like that. That would be cool. But I thought that was really interesting. They kind of, there goes this woman that I thought was going to be important, and then here comes this new opportunity, which, I'm sure they could just get another chief, but it would kind of just throw the balance off a little bit if the current chief for like the main division is just like, all right, I'm out of here, and he just takes off with the FBI. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what they end up doing with that side of the storyline. But everything in LA, I think, has been really cool. Um, as usual, the action for the show has definitely been pretty interesting. I love the obviously because the time period that it's in, everything looks really nice. All the cars, I just love looking at all those old cars. They look really cool. Um, Story wise, I am really looking forward to this mystery because it's just like some weird craziness going on. There's like this floating gel, which initially I thought was probably a part of the obelisk, but that doesn't make sense because that's like way older and stuff, and it still could have been, but I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure it's something. It has nothing to do with it. Actually, I know it has nothing to do with it because I've seen the second episode, but I figured it wasn't because the obelisk is way older, and plus it was just floating in space, and I'm like, that's not what the obelisk does. So there's this weird black goo ink stuff, and it gets pretty crazy. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about what happens in episode 2. I'm keeping this to the premiere. But I think it was a good first episode. Then I believe the episode ends with Peggy finding out that Sousa actually has a girlfriend. And it's like, well, that kind of sucks because it's like, man, he's just like all this time, and she mentions like, I called you a bunch of times and stuff, and it's like, oh, he's got a girlfriend. So it's like, all right, well, that kind of sucks that he just didn't say anything and kept it hidden from her. But definitely a great first episode. Really looking forward to this season for sure. I don't know how long it's going to be. I think it's still like the last one, so it's only going to be like 8 or 10 episodes or something like that, really short. But I'm looking forward to it. Definitely a great start. Of course, definitely want to know what you guys thought about this premiere, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And based on what we've seen, not only from like the crazy people freezing from blood contact and the other stuff happening in New York, I want to know what you guys want to see from this season. Like, there's so much stuff with this being said in the past. There's all these different aspects that they can talk about. I think they really only hinted at Hydra because, of course, that's kind of that was the main focus of the last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so I think that's why they strayed away from that. But there's still Hydra. There's possibly AIM, if that's going to be happening anytime soon. There is still how S.H.I.E.L.D. became S.H.I.E.L.D., and I think, depending on how long this series ends up going on for, they'll probably save that for, like, when they decide to make the finale of Agent Carter. Like, this is how S.H.I.E.L.D. officially came to be. But there's a lot of stuff in the, Marvel Universe that they can talk about or at least hint at. So I definitely want to know what expectations you guys have for what some of this stuff could be tied into that, has already been explained a billion times over in the comic books, or just what you guys want to see in general from this season of the show. So please, like I said, comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching. If I said that already. I can't remember if I did, but I definitely want to know if you guys... I'm pretty sure I did. But either way, I definitely want to know what you guys thought about this one, and like I said, what you really want to see, because it is a fairly unique show, considering what they're doing with it. So I do want to know what you guys think, so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.